Now, how do you get one of the magic strategies that work? Many books have been written on business strategy. Many of them are academic, and you can make the process extremely complicated. We've made it simple. To get your core strategy, ask yourself 2 questions. Number 1, how are we going to make money? And number 2, how are we going to beat the competition? Now, I'm going to repeat those. Question number 1, how are we going to make money? And how are we going to beat the competition? Once you answer those 2 questions, you have the gist of your strategy. Now let's talk about some of the companies that have used this concept of Ruthless Focus. Here's one you know well. I think we have one just before that. Well, we'll go without it. It's Amazon. Amazon. Jeff Bezos said he wanted to build a company that sold books efficiently on the internet. It's a simple, straightforward strategy. At the time, nobody was really doing it successfully. Now let's apply our test. How is he going to make money? How was he going to beat the competition? He was going to make money by selling books using the internet, which meant he didn't have the expense of building bricks and mortar stores, so his cost basis was much lower. Also, by using drop shipping, he didn't have a large inventory he had to pay for, didn't have the expense of stocking all those books. He was going to beat the competition by offering the broadest selection with fast service and ease of shopping. You didn't have to travel to his store, you just went to his site. Now, has he been successful? Amazon now controls much of the book-selling market, as many of you know. They're the single most powerful force in publishing. And because they're so successful, Jeff Bezos has modified his strategy to include other merchandise. So he's now building it into a mass merchandise operation on the internet. But remember, it started with a simple strategy built around books. He ruthlessly focused on that strategy until he grew it and made it work. Another example of a great strategy, Publix. And that's one that's close to home. This is one that we feature in our book as well. Publix is the only company I know that puts its corporate strategy on the front of its stores, where shopping is a pleasure. Now that translates into Publix built a grocery retail business around the idea of making the shopper's experience as good as humanly possible for its customers. It's all about the customer. At Publix, they live, eat, and breathe their focus on the customer. Now, Publix has stayed with this strategy since 1933. It's probably the best-run grocery chain anywhere. Grocers all over the world have studied Publix for years. Because Publix knows what they want to do, because they have a ruthless focus on a single strategy, their planning sessions can be very much more effective than a company that doesn't. For example, they know to make the customer experience best, they have to hire and train the best people. They have to buy the best locations and build the best stores. They have to have superior delis, bakeries, meat department. They have to have the biggest parking spaces. Their customers have bigger cars. They have to have competitive prices and great offers, on and on. So they don't have to reinvent themselves at the annual planning retreat, as so many companies try to do. It's much easier to plan when you have a clear strategy. It makes planning much simpler. Publix people, by the way, are great executors. They have 1 million customers a day that walk into their stores. Without excellent execution, strategy really doesn't have much value. And I want to repeat that. Without excellent execution, strategy really doesn't mean much. It's a nice thing to talk about at a cocktail party. Here's some other companies who've used Ruthless Focus on a single strategy to succeed.